morning. Welcome to 12 Sign News. National News. Prime Minister meets all national level parties to discuss an agreement on how to tackle nationalism. Narendra Modi officially announced to lead campaign for 2014 election for BJP. India offers to train judicial officers of Maldives. Mumbai yet again flooded due to monsoons. It's time for a short commercial break sponsored by the Hindi department.
नमस्कार। आज का हिंदी शब्द है आगाज। अर्थ शुरुआत, मीनिंग स्टार्ट। वाक्य प्रयोग, हमें अपने हर काम का आगाज अच्छे ढंग से करना चाहिए।
Welcome back. International news. 31 people killed as monsoon rain lashes Sri Lanka. 6 killed in NATO convoy attack in Pakistan. Nelson Mandela's conditions remain serious but stable. China sends second woman in space. It's time for another short break sponsored by English department.
English word of the day is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, spelled as supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. The word originated in the year 1904. It was a song by Disney musical film Mary Poppins. The roots of the word have been defined as follows: super, above; cali, beauty; fragilistic, delicate; expiali, to atone; and docious, educable, with the sum of these parts signifying roughly atoning for educability through delicate beauty. Meaning, it means anything. Example: really good, awesome. Usage: dance is so supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
It's time for sports news. BCCI suspends Rajasthan Royals Governor Raj Kundra. Sri Lanka loses to New Zealand in ICC Champions Trophy. Sebastian Vettel wins Canadian GP title. It's time for another break sponsored by Mr. Babrai Kamal, followed by the weather forecast.
June 11th, the 162nd day of the year and the 163rd of the leap year in the Gregorian calendar. In 1825, the first cornerstone of the 4th Hamilton was laid in New York City. In 2004, Sarla Birla Academy was inaugurated.
Ask not what the school can do for you, but what you can do for the school.
Weather forecast. Maximum temperature 25 degree, minimum temperature 20 degree. The weather will remain cloudy and windy. And finally, the SBA news. SBA, great gaze up for Founders Day. Houses practicing hard for inter-house table tennis and group discussion. This is Sheikh Zaki ending up with headlines. Handing over to Siddharth, who awaits us at SBA to present you the breaking news.
Where are we from?
SBA. 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 SBA.
SBA.
SBA.
We proudly say SBA, but do we really know how SBA was formed? It's been 10 years of this institution being in existence. Let us understand this little world of ours better. How do you define that's everywhere? How do you define a reflection of everyone? You don't. SBA is not just a school. It's a journey of a family, a journey that changes lives, because at the end of the day, it's not about what you got, but what you can make of what you got. Hence, SBA does not boast about whom it brings in, but the ones who step outside these portals. The journey began in 2001-2002 as the brainchild of Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, who modified his father's dream of starting a management school into a higher secondary school. In words of Mr. Birla himself, had set up the school
to ignite minds and to create in students a love of learning and continuous development. By making learning process an enjoyable experience, and by doing so, help develop a higher sense of self-esteem in the student and endeavor to equip student with life skills that will place him first among his equals when he steps out into the real.
In early 2003, the foundation of the school was laid. In August 2003, Birla Group started appointing teaching and administrative faculty. On June 11, 2004, school was inaugurated in presence of the Birla family and the employees of the school and Dr. Sarla Birla. With puja in the morning, and then at around 4 p.m. inauguration was done. Mr. Birla himself appointed Mr. Vinay Pandey as the first headmaster of the school. Mr. Alexander Abraham became the first teaching staff to be appointed. The first batch of students stepped on the campus on the 12th June 2004. June 14th is celebrated as our Founders' Day, which is Mr. Birla's birthday. This was the first schooling day of our school. SBA started with 126 students and 12 teachers in its first year. The only classes were grades 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, and the uniform was shorts instead of the trousers we wear today. During the time, SBA had just one boarding house, that is Boarding House 1. Let us hear a few insights of the school from few of the oldest teachers in school.
Mr. Birla had studied, he had done his masters and all that in England. He was very impressed with the Gothic architecture, and that is why you have this Gothic style architecture, so that anyone who enters the gates of the school feels that he is in England or in Europe. Because if you look at the spires that you have, the steeple of the topmost where the bell is, even the chime, that's the Westminster chime. And if you see the construct with these, Gothic arches and the dome structures that you see, that's very Gothic. You don't get there anywhere in the world. Gothic is mainly in Europe, right? So that came because Mr. Birla was very impressed, and he had Mr. Hafiz Contractor, one of India's most well-known architects, to design the school, the layout of the school. Huge challenges, because children today will not understand what it is. We didn't have any telephone lines. There were no telephone lines at that time. It came only towards the end of June. We had Tata Indicom lines where the signal used to come and go. So there are interesting things that we didn't have any cell phone towers here. So you will notice our school is in a valley. So there was no signal. So we would literally have signal coming and going, and we would lose a lot of money because I'm talking and the phone gets disconnected. The Tata Indicom was even a bigger joke, because I still remember all of us teachers, we rotated holding the phones in our hand, and when the signal would come, it would there would be a sound, and then suddenly there would be the children saying, "Papa, miss karo Papa ko," and suddenly the signal will go, and then you say, "Papa, Papa," and then suddenly the signal will come back. So it was very interesting. These are some interesting anecdotes.
That time it was a small family, and now SBA is one of the most established school of country, and the speciality of the institution is sports and music and other academic program, and now we can see the growth, and the growth rate of the growth is tremendous, and I think this is one of the best school of the country.
So we had a very tough time in the beginning of the school. So at the time that in Bangalore the rains are common, so at the time what happened, the entire area was muddy, and we used to walk from the boarding house to the dining hall, and from the dining hall to the academic block in the morning and going back. So at that time we had a very difficult time, because the soil which is present here is very sticky in nature. So we need a lot of time to clean our shoes and other kind of stuff.
And we came here 1st May. Yeah, we came here on 1st May. And then occupied in setting the things, contacting the different peoples for stationaries, libraries, books and all. Then we had the foundation on 16th. In the morning we had the puja down below. And all Mr. G.D. Birla, B.K. Birla, Dr. Sarla Birla, everybody had come. All the renowned people had come. And Mr. Kumar, what's that? What's his name? Infosys. Krishnamurthy. They all came, herded. And that time only it was so badly flooded, just because of leakage of the pipe. It was just filled with water so much, it just broke that gap between the wall and the board. So somehow that everything was removed in a very short span of time. And then we shifted ourselves from one place to another, then we did all the puja. And after that everything went on very smoothly. And then we had a gathering in the evening. Mr. Birla met each one of us personally And his sister also had come, Mrs. Kaitan, who runs the Ashoka Hall in Calcutta. He got us introduced with her, and there was a great feeling, the expression you could see in Mr. Birla's face, Mr. Kumar Birla's face. How glorious day it was that his dream is going to be fulfilled. Okay, so in front of dining hall only. So we all went inside. He interacted with everybody, to each one of us. Then ended up with a lovely, homely atmosphere.
We have come a very long way in a short period of time. Our school has grown in every possible aspect at a tremendous speed, may it be ranging from number of buildings in the campus or the number of trophies and shields in the trophy cabinet. When a father admits his son to a boarding school like ours, in words of the greatest American president, Mr. Abraham Lincoln, he dreams of,
"My son starts school today. It's all going to be strange and new to him for a while, and I wish you would treat him gently. To live this life will require faith, love, and courage. So, dear teacher, will you please take him by his hand and teach him things he will have to know, teaching him but gently if you can. Teach him that for every enemy there is a friend. He will have to know that all men are not just, that all men are not true. But teach him also that for every scoundrel there is a hero, for that every crooked politician there is a dedicated leader. Teach him if you can that 10 cents earned is of far more value than $1 found. In school, teacher, it is far more honorable to fail than to cheat. Teach him to learn how to gracefully lose and enjoy winning when he does win. Teach him to be gentle with people, tough with tough people. Steer him away from envy if you can. And teach him the secret of quiet laughter. Teach him if you can how to laugh when he is sad. Teach him there is no shame in tears. Teach him there can be glory in failure and despair in success. Try to give my son the strength not to follow the crowd when everyone else is doing it. Teach him to listen to everyone, but teach him also to filter all that he hears on a screen of truth and take only the good that comes through. Teach him to sell his talents and brains to the highest bidder, but never to put a price tag on his heart and soul. Let him have the courage to be impatient. Let him have the patience to be brave. Teach him to have sublime faith in himself, because then he will always have sublime faith in mankind, in God. This is the order, teacher, but see what best you can do. He is such a nice little boy, and he is my son.
Everyone in this hall today stands here with the purpose and burden of his parents' hopes and dreams. Let's not shatter them and use SBA to fulfill those dreams.
I don't know why, it doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away, it's so unreal. Didn't look out below, watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, didn't